much, Twan. Greetings, Douglas County. My name is Kelly Robinson. I am chair of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners Finance and Audit Committee as of Monday, December 12th, 2022. We've got not that many items on today's agenda, but we're going to go ahead and get started here and get into it. It's been a long day. We do apologize for the delay. Our meeting normally starts at 2 p.m., but because of the length of our annual budget, last meeting of the year work session for Board of Commissioners has been a little delayed, but we'll be sensitive to the time. That being said, I'm going to go around the room to establish that we actually have a quorum of our voting members. I'll start with myself, Kelly Robinson, Chair of the Committee President.
Ramona Jackson Jones, Vice Chair of the Committee President.
Frederick Terry, Deputy County Administrator Present.
Go ahead, Madam Chair, I'll let you.
It says a significant amount of feedback. I'm not sure our communications team, you could assist us with the feedback.
It's been resolved, Madam Chair.
All right.
I heard Deputy County Administrator is present. Next.
Tiffany Stewart Stanley, Assistant County Administrator.
Ramona Bivens, Chief Financial Officer.
Roz, you get to vote one more time. Come on.
Well, good afternoon, Rosalind Miller, Finance.
Welcome. Looks like we've got our full voting membership of our Finance and Audit Committee. We have a couple of guests that may be here. I think David Good has already been acknowledged as being here. Is our procurement officer here today? She is not. That's okay. All right, Madam Chair, or is there any elected official that may be on here? Y'all see any electeds?
Vice Chair, I'd like to acknowledge that our grants manager is here as well, Joe Hobson.
All right, Jill, welcome as a support member of our, we can let that be standing, that you're always welcome to our Finance and Audit Committee. So welcome, Jill, as a support member of this committee. All right, with that being said, Madam CFO, looks like we have a quorum. All things have been established as relates to those who are present. So first item up for discussion or adoption is our meeting minutes. Or don't we have meeting minutes?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I need to go ahead, Rosalind.
Yeah, I was saying I'm still working on the minutes, so if you allow me to provide next meeting.
I understand, because normally our meeting minutes we usually have a week later. And so I'm asking, so we'll just, Madam Chair, it is appropriate to delay if they're not prepared, including financial reports, because again, our acceleration of the meetings doesn't accelerate their time period in which they can get information to even produce it for us. So what we're saying is that we're going to table the adoption of the meeting minutes until our next meeting.
Okay, duly noted. Okay.
All right, concurrence. Does anybody object? It stands as said. All right, Madam CFO, keep moving.
All right, the next item is our 2016 SPLOST Single View. And I guess David and Rosalind would tag team on that because Rosalind actually has a report and she's sharing her screen now.
No problem. You guys got to take your time to roll through.
Yes, well, first I just want to say that we are facing David Good and also Atlas with Terry and Roger. I think we have a great team and we're still establishing, I guess, responsibilities to keep this worksheet updated. However, so it's a work in progress, but we do have the most important numbers, and that's what's left, the remaining balance. And for instance, we'll go over each project. So the very first one on the spreadsheet is fire and EMS. So there are several columns. However, this is the most important because this is the amount remaining. And what this number is what it includes.
What's the total amount though? For those who get the right.
Okay, yeah. 13.5 million, and I'll go over each. So to get to the 13.5, we took the 31.7 million which in New World, that's our established budget. So far, last year, prior year, we have expended 22.7 million. This year, for 2022, is 1.5 million, and we have encumbrance 210,000. So if you take the budget of 31.7 million minus out prior year expenditures, which is 22.7, minus out current year 1.5 million, and minus out encumbrance, you'll get a remaining balance of $13,553,770 that's left for the fire and EMS.
Okay. And that money that's county specific or is county plus cities?
This is county only.
Thank you. So county only. So back to our earlier conversation in the work session. If I take the $3-something million in the difference between the spread for the equipment, and I take another $3 million, give or take, for the spread on the building itself, all inflation aside, that's about $7 million. So we're saying with those, with that thought, you had sufficiently to finish those two initiatives plus everything else that's on the list. Is that true?
That is correct, as it stands as budgeted, but for fire and EMS, if they're doing, the RFP, that means they have no idea how much it's going to cost. And as you mentioned during the meeting, you have inflation. So we've just established, like for instance, for Station 9's building, right now we have a remaining balance of 8.2 million. However, if the RFP comes in higher than that 8.2 million, then you would have to reallocate. Either if there's a project that has that's taking a lot longer, you would have to reallocate to fire and EMS to move forward with the Station 9's building, especially if you sign a contract.
Guys, can you put your phones on?
Please mute your mics, everybody. Thank you.
So to that point, $13 million. So just hear me, guys. We'll be fast and quick about this. So should we make a suggestion or recommendation that you put 20%, you shrink the program by 20%. You take $2.6 million and set it to the side for inflation. So now you only got $11.2 million to work with. Let's say 11 million. 11 million to finish 2 initiatives right now, which is, let's say it's 7, and 4 million more. That's why I keep saying at some point you want to cut this off. You don't want to get to a point where, okay, now we're into the building and it's coming in 3 million over or 2 million over, and you ain't got nothing to work with. How you gonna pay that? Right, so that is that right there. So we can plan for this. So I'm open to a conversation regarding, should we recommend, guys, that it's a good problem. Trust me, it is a great problem, but you have a set of priorities that you put in play. And again, I haven't still heard yet whether or not the equipment that we're buying today is all going into Station 9, or we got Station 9 to be equipped on top of this. And I'm gonna let my chairs, I'm gonna let them figure it out. But you got a cap of money. I'm just trying to keep y'all right there. Y'all figure out what the priorities are and stick with it. But knowing that you just can't just be spending and spending and spending, and it's gonna be okay. We can move. Like, no, you gotta see the bigger picture, guys. You about to cap out at 11 million. That's all you got left in there. That's it. Move on to the next boss, but just close this one out. So it's getting to a point where, now, okay, I gotta stop now. I gotta get a new car. Slow down. You gotta come to a complete stop on that. And then you get into the new vehicle and then go on. That's all I'm saying. So whatever is not gonna fit, whether it's that building and its equipment, that's a priority. That means that everything else may have to slip over into the new SPOS list, which is my point. Like, okay, you just gotta move it over. You're gonna run out of money, guys. You just don't wanna be obligated for something that's bigger than you can swallow in a margin of error. Madam CFO, do you hear what I'm trying to suggest?
Yes, sir, I do. I was writing notes. I was on mute. Yes, sir.
You're okay?
I am okay. Yes, sir. So basically you want us to look at, you mentioned reallocating some funds from programming to, for inflationary costs.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're financing, we're across all three categories.
Yes.
This applies to everybody. Should we take a 10 or 15 or 20% shrinkage? Take the hit now for inflation, which means now we're squeezing projects that were on the list, but it ain't like they can't roll together. So don't make it so emotional or personal what we're doing. This is straight math, and you got to be willing to cut it. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm okay with 10, 15, or 20. I'm hoping you guys recommend. Rosin, what do you think? What do you think? Give us a little, since you're taking lead on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, but I would like to, which I think that this is kind of what you're saying. I do want to point out that, so in speaking with, working with David and Atlas and Roderick, what we discovered is that each time we receive revenue, when we receive revenue from SPLOST, and let's say it's over a projected amount,
Yep.
they've been, they allocate, based to the project. But, and I think that's what's called the reforecast. So in our system, we still have the initial established budget. And so you can see these two numbers. So if we take the estimate, what they're estimating that they feel that the SPLOST revenues are going to end at, and let's say, so they established 39 million, but initially it was 30, and I think it has been some changes too, but it was 32 million. So it's a variance of about 7 million. So if we do bump up the initial budget of 31.7 million to 39, that would really give them available funds. Would give them available funds of 20 million versus the 13.
But again, you've already got some stuff that's encumbered. You got some stuff that's already been. All right.
Correct.
So, all right.
And that's what you'll find. And like I said, we're still working. We're still taking a look at it, and I still have to discuss with CFO Bivens based off of the actual projection of the revenue. I'm thinking that I believe that when we spoke, she wanted to kind of look at, how the revenue was estimated based off of the excess. So before we bump that number up, she will review it, if that makes sense. So that's why we haven't changed it in our system.
Rick, you got your baseline budget, and that's what we committed to Wall Street, and that's what we've been monitoring.
That is
Again,
correct.
we appreciate the COVID. We appreciate the extra lift. But I couldn't plan on that. That's just on the house that you got this extra spread. So whether you're going to go from 7 plus the next 5 months, this $1 million per month extra, maybe at 12, right? But I didn't plan on that. But I'm just making sure that the staff is just not spending and not being aware of, like, y'all can't just be stuck in our agenda and not know the numbers.
Right.
And so I've got to be the oversight and checking out. It's like, okay, now, if it was there, it's there. I'm fine. But you got to tell me, you can't just say it's there and you can't show it. That's the only point today. Like, okay, guys, y'all got to be better than this now. Come on now. Y'all, now I get we trying to, it's at the end, so you got to get as much as you can in there. Like, I'm fine, just as long as the math works.
Right.
So, Madam CFO, I won't belabor it. Are we okay then? Just on this bucket, and again, I think the rest are much more tighter. But what do you think? We good? Do we need to take any action? Do we need to take that up, or we're okay as is?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think good as is based on the projections that are before us. I don't want to say I'm comfortable, but I think we're good.
Madam CFO, weigh in.
Yes, sir. I'm on the fence. As Rosalind stated, we're trying to look at the revenue, excuse me, the revenue projections and how they were done to make sure that we're comfortable with that. And if it all looks well, then I'm good.
I'm sure so we're listening.
Same thing,
I'm
yeah,
sure it's a little bit more optimistic. I'm a little bit more cautious, which is usually not the same. I'm usually the opposite, but it's okay. We're looking for staff to help settle us. So
Yeah,
to your point.
Well, I'm not settled myself, so that's what Rosalind is working on, getting me the data, so I would have a comfort level of what has occurred. Historically, when they've gotten additional revenue, they've reallocated that revenue. Whereas I think in hindsight, we probably should not have added new projects. We should, because we're getting more revenue because of inflation, because people are paying sales tax on a higher cost of goods that they're buying. On the other flip side, we have inflationary impact on what we're buying as well. So even though we're getting more money, I don't see it as extra money to spend because we're having increased costs in our projects that we've already set. So Rosalind and I are trying to balance, look at what we've said that we did and what we added, to go back and make sure those things that were already set out that were initially approved first, that we cover those with price increases and everything. And we may have to go in the back end and back up off of some of those other projects. That's where my thought process is right now.
That's to my point. We have to back off. That's my whole point. Like, slow down, put the brakes on. All right, so I'm go ahead. Yeah.
This is David Good. Just wanted to, as you would say, weigh in a little bit if I can, coming from the outside. My comfort level is probably a little bit more comfortable because I know that we also have the reimbursables coming from the cities at 27.6%, and that part hasn't been counted in, mainly because they're reimbursables. And I do know that I think my only caution had always been how much will it cost for Fire Station number 9 to be built, as well as having the 4 vehicles to go inside of that building. So if I had any caution, it would be, let's make sure we have everything for the building, including the apparatuses and everything else that would go for the building. So that's where my whole entire crux has always been. Let's make sure we have enough for the building. Right now it's at $425 per square foot. It could go up. We're hoping that it doesn't, but that's where my comfort level is right now. And I believe that we do have it right now as far as where the budget is.
All right, so I appreciate that. So here's third-party independent contractor. They're managing our priorities. They're only managing what's on the list that they've been given by the full board commissioners. Station number 9 was a priority, fully loaded. Just like we're putting people in the budget right now for staffing. Top priority, that building, its equipment, and its people. Got it. So my point being is, okay, if that's the priority, that's got to be off the top. You got everything else. But if you start putting like 5 this, 5 that, you're slipping things in there. They're like, okay, we ain't got to worry about that until 2024. Now I'm listening today, like, okay, what now? You get to make the decision today. You can't wait to be. You just assuming that you ain't worried about it. We ain't got to deal with this in 2024. No, you got to deal with this in 5 months, and you got to call it quits. So, all right, Dave, thank you for that. So we know what the priorities are. You won't know. So by the time we get to our next meeting, you won't have to know this by next meeting. We're going to New York, and we got to talk about what we did in our prior spots, and we need that rating on how well our credit is, and we got to have a new list.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to settle this in 30 days. We don't have time. Now, I'm going to get through the meeting now. We're fine. But just like, okay, we can't settle it right now, Madam Chair. I'm okay. I wanted to talk about it. I want to put it on the agenda so we can discuss this. Staff needs a little bit more time. I get it. She had to get through her budget. Let's get through tomorrow, Madam Chair. Get the budget adopted. We can come back to the SPOS. So I'm fine with that. You got time, but you only got 30 days. Because then we got to go. And so it can't be like we want to come like you. When we come to that committee, we're rolling. We're setting our meetings to go to Wall Street. So that's what I'm saying. You're running simultaneously. You're doing both at the same time. You're closing one down in theory. You're raising another one up. I'm okay. I think you got this. That's it. Any thoughts? Madam CFO?
No, sir, I'm good. I appreciate the grace because I do need it right now, get through the budget, and then this is our next project. And we will have it done for the next meeting. Because we can focus on this now.
Madam Chair, are you okay? I mean, I hear them. You had to talk about it because it was on our agenda for
Yes.
tomorrow, so it was appropriate. But I'm not forcing action yet. It's just to acknowledge it's like, okay, guys, it's right behind that. Let's get through the budget. Let's get that going, and then we can come back to this capital funding source. If that's okay with you, Madam Chair.
It sounds good. That's what we need to do. Yes,
All
absolutely.
right.
He took it down.
Administratively, you got what you guys need. There's no action needs to be taken by this committee. I'm gonna let y'all work out the list. But keep going. I want to put a record. Keep going now. The other two categories, please.
Okay, so
Rosalind.
the next is transportation.
Oh yeah, Rosalind, real quick, just point of order. Did anyone need me to talk about what the different colors are in the color coding, or are we good for the record?
I'm good right now. I just want to hear the net number.
Okay,
Top line.
sorry, Rosalind.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
We're tag teaming, so no, not a problem, David. Okay, so the next is transportation, and let's take a look at column O. And again, transportation has available funding of 17.6 million. And again, the budget is established at 45.7 million. Prior year is expenditures 23.2 million. Current year expenditures 9.2. We have about 11.1 million in encumbrance. So if you take the budget of the 45.7 million minus the prior year 23.2 minus current year expenditures of 9.2 and minus the encumbrance of 11.1, you get a remaining balance of $17.6 million.
All right. So to that point, so David, wait in. I want the green, what will go. Describe your colors, but really I want the conversation to be about what will go, not below, not downline. Can you speak to that for us, David, real quick?
I'm sure. Basically, everything will go with the exception of Highway 5 at Concourse because that is a city project. So there was quite a few things that was on the original list that were for additional funds, and all of those during the reforecast, we reforecasted those to design and engineering, such as 78 at John West South Baggett Road, Post Road at I-20, and she has them highlighted for the public, Highway 166 at Post Road, Highway 166 at Chapel Hill, and Highway 5 at Berea Road. All those, instead of those being pulled out projects from design to construction, they are only engineering and design. And so therefore they would be what would go to a new SPLOST if the Board of Commissioners have decided those roads are priorities. Keep on going down on this.
Yeah, but stay there to
Okay.
Right. So we got what color is that, David?
They're blue, and the ones that are highlighted in yellow are only there because they were on the original list. So they were reforecasted money-wise, not project-wise.
But the blue represents what?
Reforecasted.
But will it go?
Yes, it
Will
will go.
and blue goes.
Yes, yes, everything will go except for what's in red, and only Highway 5 at Concourse is in red.
All right, there we go. That's what's for. So now, Chair, again, one more time. I think transportation is a little bit much more tighter as far as what we're going to be able to accomplish. To David's point, anything that doesn't make it goes to the next list. And it's okay. It doesn't stop the work of the future. So it's just, you know, you're out of this one. You're out of this. This gift card is over. There's nothing else on this gift card coming up, guys. So you may have some change left over for all things and purposes, but this gift card is coming to an end on April 1st. All right, so whatever you got in, that's it. And that's all I'm saying. So we have to measure, once you cut off that card, now whatever you got in your checking account, you now have to expend that across what's remaining. And that's the only thing I'm just trying to say. Everything else just goes to the new list. All right, I got that one. So no comment, Madam Chair. That's pretty straightforward. We got transportation tomorrow, but we'll get into the new list. Roslyn, keep going.
Okay, our next is Parks and Recreation. And if we look at column O, we see that available is $918,000. Original budget is 16.995. Prior year expenses is 16.787. Current year expenditures are 325. And you have encumbrance of 1.9. So you have a remaining of 918, 918.18. $918,000 that's available.
Okay. There's a little less than $1 million for Parks and Rec. Got it. And so and so what does that get us? Once you weigh in, so that what would that get us?
Okay, for Parks and Rec, they were probably the one that was unique in the reforecast. They were at their 17 million at that time, so therefore their reforecast was all new. So everything that was on their project list basically went that was on that quote unquote above the line theory. So we're not working on that one. Right now what we have is that we have everything that was, I believe we ended up doing the Deer Lake roof, but the Deer Lake floor, that one is one that will not go. But we did the Bill Arp and Fair Play. We were able to get the fencing and the wall and the dugouts in. So everything that will go is that. What will not go is the Winston Park and Deer Lake Park concessions. They ended up doing a reforecast where those are conceptual plans that will go into the next plus if the Board of Commissioners so choose. Woodrow Wilson also will not go. We have Jesse Davis Park, Keith Park, which were city parks in the city, so they would not be on this list anyway. Pumpkin Town Nature Reserve, general fund or some other fund was used, not SPLOS. The water feature at Boundary Waters and Nature Preserve, that was for 2.28 million. It was decided that was not going to be one that would go. The Winston Park resurfacing, again, that's going to be part of the conceptual design. You have the Dog River Nature Center and the Senior Center out at West Douglas. I believe it's what's the other one? I think it's something that was in the renovation of the Selman Library, Senior Services, and the library out in District 3, Chapel Hill. All those were projects that were mentioned that the Board of Commissioners wanted to do, but this class was not going to have enough for the 17% of Parks and Rec to fund them. So, but everything else definitely did go. Can you go up a little bit, Rosa? So with it being 17%, the largest of the projects that they did go. You had the Senior Center out in District 1. That one, of course, passed. You had the Boundary Waters concessions. Boundary Waters, they had lighting over there, as well as the multi-purpose center. That one did go. You had miscellaneous equipment. I believe in either the last meeting or one before that, the playground units over at 4 different parks also went. And then the Fair Play placement. So a lot of those early on projects did go, but once we got to the reforecast last year, we slowed down, and then we saw there was additional funds coming in. So for whatever that amount was at that time, we were able to reforecast it and put additional projects on there. And then those that could not make it, we put those in red, and we'll see if they will go for the new spots in 2023.
I'm good with that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Roslyn, you okay?
Yes. Okay. So the next is program management, and so this budget if the board approves the increase, you would make an adjustment to this section here for the program management. But again, this column O, that's how much is remaining, 32.2 million So far, we have spent a total of 91.2 million on all projects. We have remaining 32.2 million. Currently, we have about 40 million in the SPLOST checking account.
That's what we're saying. Don't get so caught up in thinking we got 40 million. We've got things that have already been sort of earmarked and programmed. So again, Madam CFO, I know you're getting your mind around this single view. I mean, this to you guys as leadership, like, right, guys, this conversation right here. Keep up with it now. Y'all figure out how y'all want to turn the spreadsheet and what color you want to use, magenta and emerald green. That's fine. But just make sure we're able to, at any given time, we should be able to answer the question, right? Right, where are we at in this? And as we make decisions like earlier today, you gotta be ready on the spot. Like, okay, what's this impact? What's this fiscal impact? You got your budgetary fiscal impact. We gotta have the same thing on the SPLOST, when the SPLOST is as big as your annual budget, even though it's critical. Madam Chair, are you okay? I mean, I just wanted to bring this up, just make sure we're having this in front of us during these meetings. Are you okay with the current status of current 2016 SPLOST? That is coming to an end, but it's not that it's coming to an end, it served its purpose.
Absolutely. It served its purpose. It really exceeded our expectations. I believe all of our expectations. And hopefully that 2023 will do the same.
So now, I'm going to shift gears with that topic. This is now, let's talk about, David said 2.0 or SPLOST 2022. All right, so you got a list of stuff that pretty much is going in this current SPLOST. That means that everything else rolls into the new SPLOST. Right? It automatically rolls over into the new SPLOST. Those three categories, you may have to realign them a little bit. And that's what I'm asking the committee chairs. All right, now. So we're saying, David, to your point, the blues are going. They're going to stay where they are. And everything else, we're going to pick up, cut and paste, and put it over here and start anew with a new list. And, reshuffle it however y'all think it needs to be done. You can keep it in the same technical order, or is it based on the priorities, except where things have been reset. I'm going to leave the committee chairs to figure that out. But that's David, I need you and Roslyn to work and support Madam CFO that we need this by our next meeting. And so the committee chairs, I'm going to keep saying it to every meeting, Madam Chair, like, okay, guys, we need the list, you need your list, you need your list. I know they're working on it. And can y'all reach out to them and say, hey, guys, can you help them? Well, here's what we think it is right now. Y'all want to weigh in. So I need y'all to facilitate this on behalf of my peers who are chairs. Can y'all handle that? Do you understand do you understand the assignment?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, are you okay?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You got to go now. You got to separate the two. What's going to go now is going to go now. And then everything else goes into the new list. And now you got to manage two lists at the same time. Dave, you going to be able to keep up with this? Two different lists, two different teams. Eventually, the one will go away and fade, the other one will expand. It's during this transition. You got to be able to run both at the same time.
Yes, I got 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 feet, and 2 arms, so I got you.
All right, thank you. Roslyn, are you okay? Roslyn?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was on. Yes,
I know y'all tag team, and I just want to make sure
I
y'all
know.
okay.
Yeah, we became best friends. We talk often now.
All right. That's what I want to hear. All right, so to my administrators, are y'all guys okay? I know y'all are just monitoring. They've got it, but are you okay? Madam ACA Deputy, y'all all right?
Yes, sir. I am.
Absolutely. I'm much like Rosalind, and David is one of my best friends now.
Gotcha. All right. Madam Chair, I'm gonna go ahead and shift gears then to the next topic. Madam CFO, anything else on this topic? That's all I want to accomplish.
Okay, no, sir, I don't have anything else.
All right, let's move on to the next item, please.
The next item is the 2023 budget. So, as I stated during the work session, there's only been a few changes since the budget hearing. We added the procurement analyst for purchasing for their full-time salaries and benefits and their traveling and training. That total amount was $79,450. We added $65,000 for external affairs for other contracted services for the strategic plan. And then the final item was a transfer from a couple of employees from staff from communications to external affairs, which we're going to be calling constituent services. And all of these changes were a net zero impact on the budget. So we're still requesting that the board approve the budget of total revenues and expenditures of $124,912,814. I'm getting ahead of myself. And then the special revenue funds, nothing's changed there. The total special revenue funds is $48,121,597. Capital projects fund, $17,015,844. The enterprise funds, $9,276,120. And then internal service funds, $17,759,229 for a total proposed 2023 budget, all funds, $217,085,604.
Gotcha. Did you say capital transportation fund or capital improvement?
Just capital projects, and it's for the SPLOST 2016 SPLOST capital projects.
All right, so I'm gonna leave your budget as is. I have no interest in you took your position, and that's where we are. I want to come back to a topic that raised earlier. So I really want to have you guys input on this.
Okay.
How much do you have in contingency in your current fund budget?
So there's $450,000 for the set aside for Madam Chair to use. And then hold on, let me get my little cheat notes over here. We have a small pot of money that's what I've been using for these little additional items that we've been adding. And it's almost gone. Hold on, let me find it because I have it here. Here it is here. So total is $726,902. $450 of that is in the Board of Commissioners administration. And then the other is what we just had set as $276,902 to handle any additional things that may come up in the budget.
Okay. So my question becomes: should that come out of? Is this recurring?
Some of it could be, Mr. Vice Chair. It depends on what the ask is. If it's a salary position, that would be reoccurring. I wouldn't recommend taking that out of fund balance. Now, if it's a one-time, one-off something, that could potentially possibly come from fund balance. So that's kind of why we have the contingency there, because right now we don't know at this time what the expense might be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Think structure for that, not just structure. My point is, you got, let's say, $500,000 in there for Madam Chair, our normal. Madam Chair, we've been there from 250 to 750. Right, every year we change it, just contingency. It's just whatever really is left over by default. But let's just say you put a real thought and intent into this. My question is that coming out of reoccurring, because it's a one-off, and actually it's diluting the capacity to deal with something that's reoccurring. Because again, it's a one-off. You, to your point, you use your fund balance for the one-offs at one time, but that is too precious. That recurring expense and recurring revenue is precious, and so if you got $500,000 of spread right there, well, you need to free that up. You can take it out of the fund balance if you need it. But when you lock up your recurring revenue against recurring expenses, it's locked, and it could be used for something else on down the line, for whatever the case may be, a promotion for somebody that comes up or something that happens. Y'all ain't got nothing to work with through this year. And I'm saying is that, so I don't know, I'm open. You can split it half and half recurring, half fund balance, all fund balance. But I just, I have a problem because all recurring revenue versus expenses, I've got a problem with that. And look for an alternative.
Gotcha. So, I mean, we could split it if you would like, because as I stated right now, it is a contingency for those things, whether it's, we say a one-off, whether it's a position or something where you have to give an increase. For instance, I will use what we talked about earlier with a position over on the judicial side.
Right.
that $16,000, that would be recurring, and it could come out of that contingent, that 200 and whatever number I just gave you, 270 something thousand dollars that I just gave you a few minutes ago. It could come out of that. That would be recurring. If somebody came up and said, well, I have we had a leak in something, or we need to replace the carpet in one of the offices, that could very well, that's non-recurring. So it could either come from there, or it could come from a one-time hit to fund balance.
Rosalind, y'all weigh in. I just looked for something that's more. We're trying to stabilize how we do things. Like I said, we set aside that 2% of our annual budget should be contingency. That's the first thing. You get a percentage that is always there, and it comes. I mean, I go back to we're sitting on $44 million cash. I know part of it is restricted and part of it is assigned. I'm trying to say, okay, guys, y'all sitting on a lot of cash. I'm like, okay, well, you need to put something like we got, the capital improvement plan, we got the capital transportation plan. You got these funds that are sitting there, and you still can ride with no take. My point is, okay, here's another assignment. I'm not going to restrict it. I'm going to say it's assigned for contingency. 2% of our budget, our overall budget should be contingent, to be in the fund balance. So that frees everything else. That revenues be revenues, expenses be expenses if they're recurring, and anything else should be assigned in the fund balance. I'm trying to separate the two. What do you think? Because you made a comment earlier in our work session that you were thinking that way, you just weren't there yet. I said, okay, we'll talk about it later. But you heard my point about the contingency, about the difference. What were you thinking earlier today versus now? And I know it's the end of the day, but when I brought it up, what prompted your thoughts? What was your thoughts?
Did I say something in the early meeting?
You affirmed me in a partial way. You affirmed me. Like today we're doing it this way, but I mean, I get it. You know I hear everything.
Because we could go either way. My fund balance, I don't want to touch it unless it's for one-time, non-recurring expenditures. Those one-offs, if we can go that direction and allocate part of it for those one-offs. But we do need something set aside for those recurring. And again, we don't really know what those recurring are going to be right now.
Yeah.
I do know they come up during the year.
All right. So you got about $500,000, give or take, right now that let's say Madam Chair in administration, zone administration. Right. That's recurring. Right now the way you got it is recurring.
Mm-hmm.
That's basic. Take another $500,000 that matches that in the fund balance. Now you got $1 million. Half of it is reoccurring. That I'm sure if you want to do some salary movements or whatever the case be, you got it. The other $500,000 is that Chris Pumphrey comes to me above beyond his budget. You know how he does it. We need this $250,000 study to go over here. Okay, let's go. All right, I shall improve this. You know how that's working, I'm sure. That something will pop up and we'll sit there and agree. And it makes sense, but again, it's nice chunks. 1.25, 150, 200 at a pop. So anyway, what do you think, Madam Chair?
Yeah, I like the current process, at least with that 450 for
Split it
continuing.
in half.
Yeah, because we have the windows leaking, the ceiling upstairs. Those were those emergencies that I could just give Mark Price the ball and let him run. The elevators broke. So, just those moments, those one-offs. And usually every year we chew that money down. It's 450. And what is our balance now in the contingency, Madam CFO? About
Rosa, how much was it? Because it was very little. Because we thought.
Yeah, it's 90. We start on.
it's recurring usage. It may not be on the same thing, but it's a different.
Yeah, only remaining is 19,000. So far we spent 459.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I'm sure you're using that to fix leaks.
Leaks, all kinds of things that just happen. Carpets upstairs ruined or in the.
See, she's talking about capital, guys. She's talking about one-off. That's my point. Help the moment. It says that's using some very precious recurring revenue versus recurring expenses to deal with one-offs. And really, the one-offs should come out of your fund balance. That's your rainy day. That's when your car breaks down. That's when your hot water heater breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you use that. That's unplanned, unanticipated. all right, we got to fix this right now and get it done. But you're using your reoccurring like, ooh, and I just, it's not could we do it, but should we do it that way? That's all. And maybe you need both. You need half. Go ahead, guys.
Would just like to see if we would allow Madam CFO to monitor just at least one full year to see what her thoughts are. Right now, she's kind of, So if we could just give her a minute just to see it, and then if we could talk about it next year this time, and then if we need to change the process, we could. I just want to give her one full year to see, in her opinion. I know you mentioned no TANs, but in speaking with Madam CFO, we're not sure yet about a TAN. It's still a question mark on the TAN. Am I correct, Madam CFO?
Yes, Madam Chair, that is correct, because we have the increase in salaries. Our operating expenses have increased. Our monthly operating expenses, we're going to see a significant increase in that. So, Rosalind, that's that, and this plus the next two items on top of our list. Once the board passes our budget tomorrow, being very optimistic, so that's the first thing we're going to tackle, is that, so we can see first if we will need a TAN.
Yeah, hopefully we're not going to have, no short term, no long term debt. I'm going to Wall Street, just like freeze that moment.
Right.
Get on the other side of that moment, and then you can come out later in the year.
That's why I don't want to touch my fund balance right now.
Right, but then we're also like we're doing with the operating budget. It's like, yeah, it's a balancing things. What's our priority for the moment? We got a short-term priority. We want to get a nice financing rate. At the same time, we're still managing the annual. Like, okay, it's a balancing act. But then again, I'm willing to give it time to. But it's something to think about. What is again? It's about maturity. Just next year we talk about optimization. I think there's a modernization part to how we do that, the maturity part. And legislation says, okay, guys, but what should our legislation be that we don't have to make these decisions every year? Like, how much we're gonna put in there? Like, okay, you need it. We know you're gonna need something. Just come up with a policy. It's 2% of our annual budget. Half goes in sort of the recurring, and half of it's gonna be in the fund balance, and you're gone. I'm thinking more policy, guys. I'm only talking about policy, right? I mean, how we need to handle this, so y'all don't have to scratch your head. How do you deal with this? So, all right, this is good committee conversation and stuff. Rosalind, any thoughts? I'm interested.
No, I guess when you say it is totally policy, because if remember, we have to have a balanced budget, and you don't really want to balance your budget with fund balance. So that's why we usually do contingency, because if anything comes up, we have the money. We wouldn't have to go before the board to take it from fund balance to fund general fund. It's already established, and it doesn't mean that we're going to use it all. It's just it'll go back to fund balance if you don't use the whole 950.
Correct. So that 450 that you got right now, that's strictly salaries. Yes or no?
So,
No. It's for anything that comes up.
Yeah.
It's a mixture.
It could be salaries. It could be.
It's an emergency. Yeah.
It's an emergency. Anything that comes up through the year that's not already included in the department's line item budget.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be if they had something that broke down, or we needed. I'm trying to think of something that where
you gave somebody a raise.
Kept it long enough.
Well, no, we gave somebody a raise for $15,000.
Yes, it could be for that. It could be for that.
That means that now.
Or for recruitment.
If somebody needed a new copier, we could use it for that. Now that would be, because we're going to be leasing copies, that would be a recurring expenditure.
Yeah. I get.
Okay.
I get it one more time. I'm listening to what you're saying.
Okay.
The debt forfeit, historically, we move some stuff around to buy ourselves time. But what you're saying is like, okay, mark what y'all are saying. Oh, you can use this to actually get most of it. Y'all ain't got to sleep no more. Like, oh, okay, well, you can use it for salary. You can get this person raised, get that person raised, get that person raised. I'm just saying, over time, you're gonna have people who are gonna do a great job. They're gonna be the one-off, they're exceptional, and you're gonna want to spot them. And so when we're asking executive session, my question, okay, so how you gonna fund this? And we put a little money over here trying to slide and do this, like, no, what you just told me that you're gonna take it out that contingency. You know what I'm saying? You go burn that fast.
Just looking at this year's, some of the things were, the leak test at the courthouse,
Sure.
treatment, exterminator, treatment.
Yeah.
It looks like,
good.
paying for juvenile court, so majority of it is operational cost.
Right.
Operation.
Yeah, a lot of this is operational cost. The Marvin and Jenkins, I believe,
Yep.
the capital project advisory work,
Yep.
there was a water pump.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the majority of, and
Operation.
yeah, operational. I don't see anything huge that was, and
Really?
also maintenance, I think, the land, Yellowstone landscaping, the mowing site, to add additional mowing cycles, so that's maintenance. And that's the, biggest expenditure, you know, it was like 100,000.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, you burn through it, and again, so what we're saying is that our goal, and I know we've had conversations, especially with Commissioner Clark and Vice Chair Lake, that was, you know, no salary adjustments. We only do it once or twice a year. So there's still policy conversations that we're going to have, not today, not tomorrow, but it's something that we do want to address. How do we normalize? How do we normalize? How do we bring maturity to how do we approach this? This goes back to our evaluation. And so I'm just thinking policy, bigger picture, like, okay, got it. I'm not going to press it. Y'all are right. I'm willing to yield right now to buy you time. But it's something that we just want stability around it, that it's just not, you know, again, when things come up, I mean, I'm sure everyone standing in the hallway of the conversation with Chris Purple, like, okay, now how are we going to pay for this now? Like, where's this going to come from? And while we get those conversations, and I'm looking for a stable area in which we can always go to. And there's always this, but it burns down so fast. I mean, it's down 8,000, 9,000, 15,000. Y'all know y'all go through this money fast. And we really burned through pretty fast. I'm sure you were done by June, and we had to buy time to the end of the year. We went pretty fast in there this year, guys. And then I'm sure we're like, oh my God, we're out of contingency. All right, guys, we're good. I'm good with that. Enough on that. There's nothing else that needs to speak to this. Let's let that part go. Anything else on the budget that you guys want to talk about? Now, Chair said leave as is. I am going to take a formal recommendation as is with the budget in just a moment. But I say go as is, send it to the full board, and step back for a minute. Now, are we clear on the community service group? Let me see.
Hello, Vice Chair. Good afternoon. Yeah, so that I was going to seek clarity on that. So the question I have is, are we listing the potential groups? And if we aren't, then I don't even know if we need an agenda item, because the money is going to be appropriated in the budget, unless you guys just want to have an agenda item that says we're going to put this community services. But I wasn't clear when we finished on whether or not we should list everyone or not.
Yeah, again, go back to we have on-demand consultants. You know, we have looks like we got a list of on-demand attorneys.
Right.
And we got an on-demand set of partners in the community.
Okay.
And so, list their names. You know, all we're saying is it's just we're just passing a resolution on a list of, let's put it like this, pre-qualified list of potential providers. They have to go through a 3-step process. Let's do how to do business in Douglas. Number 1, you must register. Right? Everybody must go take that one page down and register. Number 2, you gotta have an application. Whatever you decide to do, you'll go 1-page form so we can collect base data. No more than the small business that we did as part of ARPA. I'm like, no, we're gonna be consistent with the standard. You gotta give us something. Who are you? Number 3 is the MOU, which is the actual exchange, and I get that. But again, we need a feedback mechanism.
Right.
So again, one more time, you got people that are being baked into the budget with nothing. And so that's what I'm saying. So this is not hard. Put everybody list on there as far as a pre-qualified list of whatever you want to call it, community service providers. That is the business item. That right there. Then the separate conversation is in the budget. You got $100 grand. That's it. and it's first come, first serve. I don't agree. I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree that everybody just automatically gets $5,000. I think you got to go through the process. You know, there's something about going through the process that says, okay, well, you at least got to apply. You may get in there and your charter may prohibit you from doing this. Your own organizations, you may not want to take that money. Right? I know what your intent was, but you got to go through a process. So I'm fine, you got $100,000, it's part of the budget, you need a loan. But how you execute this is like, you got 3 steps you got to go through. You got to register with the county, you got to fill out the app, you got to enter that MOU. But through that, they've got to do their part. And again, we've got people that are just as big and old as we can be, and they haven't provided us with anything. As far as, well, what are you doing with the money we funded so far? You said you made this type of impact, but where's the evidence? Where's that? So you also need to go through the same process. I'm sure you already registered with us in kind of way. We're funding. I don't know if we are, but at least, I mean, there's some type of exchange. So you got to normalize this. You have time, but the need is right now. This is what it's like what the state is like. Y'all taking too long to get this money to these people with housing and get evicted stuff because it's stuck in a bureaucratic process. Like it's stuck up in the state. There's money for housing. You need to get out people and people getting evicted and stuff. And they ain't figured out how to get their money to them. Department of Labor, people want to get their money and stuff, get their checks and stuff for unemployment. They get stuck. My point is, let's not let this get stuck. This ain't that hard. We're only talking about $5,000. It's not that difficult, but it matters to these young, these emerging firms as it relates to. They've been around a while, but this is a chance to okay, now they can extend a little bit in the area that's important. So I said no, pass the name of the pre-qualified list right now, and let them apply. Normally they've got to provide whatever they got to provide. I mean, you got an EIN, whatever you just went through with the small businesses, it's really the same thing. Like, okay, provide us with free, you got to give me something. I just, to the county attorney court, I just can't give you $5,000. I can't charitably give you $5,000. There is an exchange out there that you're going to provide these, whether it's education, medical expansion, mental health, whatever y'all going to be doing within your respective areas that you have a concentration of people. No problem. This is not hard, guys. But are you clear? Just a list. Pre-qualified list. That's it. The budget. Now CFO already got that. The money's there. Now how you implement? It's fine. My job is to appropriate. How you figure out how you're going to implement it? You got time.
Okay.
You ask for next month. You got time. It's not tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, the budget is not effective to the first year anyway. You got time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, it's not hard. Now you need help. Now if you need help, say that. We can take that offline. See, there you go. I told you.
No, we
help.
got
Let me know because it's gonna come. If Jill is out here, if she's gonna help you, man, y'all need. How will y'all capture it? Who is going to facilitate? But it should be no more than what you're currently doing. But who should be running community services? You got Jill running grants. That's different than this. This actually is a body that somebody needs to be dedicated to this. Who is handling these community service providers? Ray's got his own footprint is a little bit broader and wider in the other area, but I think this needs to have somebody who's dedicated to keep up with this. So the resistance I hear sometimes in my spirit is like, okay, it's just the work. So now you know you got to stay up on top of these guys. You know you got to follow up. Just like Fulton County got a full department that's responsible for this. Am I wrong, Madam Macy?
No, you're correct. You're correct. And we, like I said, we had already started down the road with the process. Ms. Hobson and then Ms. Tappet, our intergovernmental services coordinator, we had already started down the road. So we can continue down that path and get everything together in order to facilitate the program for the pre-qualified applicants.
That's all I'm going. Pre-qualified nonprofit service providers.
Vice Chair.
That's all you got to do tomorrow. The budget is the budget. Leave the budget alone. Leave the budget alone. The 100 is the 100. That's all you got in this round. Now, if the board wants to expand later on, that's up to the board. That's all y'all got right now. So I'm gonna leave it there. Leave that. Stay with the $5,000 per firm. I don't think everybody's going to respond and be able to qualify. I just don't see once they go through the process, they'll be able to fall away. So let's just stay with that. That's all we got. It's 100,000. Let's see how this plays out. Think about 50 of this came from small business that didn't even respond when we did the original round. I mean, so think about it. Half this money has come from stuff that we had to reclaim. Like, okay, y'all ain't gonna use this, y'all ain't gonna respond. I'm gonna repurpose this and give it, move it to somebody who's a little bit more shovel ready and shovel ready. Think about it. Half of it came from that. So let's be consistent. Let's recognize what we're doing here. Like, okay, guys, we're just trying to get the money out there to people that in need, people who help deliver these services. But if you don't respond, then keep moving. So that's all we can try to do. Now, MACA, does it make sense? How are we doing this?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Madam Chair, are you okay? Do you understand the logic that we're doing right here?
I'm okay.
Vice Chair,
Yeah, Deputy, please wait.
brings to mind a grant that we always applied for in the Human Resources Department from ACCG. You definitely have a bona fide process that you go through, an application, documents of what you spent the grant money on the previous year, but they don't allocate, and it's pretty much the same amount. I think the amount is about $6,000,
Yeah.
but they have a mid-year report that you have to submit. They give you the half up front. Mid-year report is submitted around June. You get the other half. That guarantees you that you will be submitting your information in a timely fashion if you want that second half. Just a thought, maybe administratively for us.
No, you're on point. Just like with our mental health at $50,000, I appreciate that rate is overseen for mental health. Right, $25,000 up front. Come and make your report, get up $25,000. When you get that report, you didn't get that second half. We know they've experienced. So right, we got it. You actually are living it here, but it's not consistent, right? I'm holding that standard there because that was important. But everybody else is just doing like they normally do. There's no consistent application. Now, me as an elected official, I got to stay on it because I'm responsible. I want to make sure it's done right. But everything else, like, okay, look, guys, we got to standardize this to the deputy's point. It's not hard. Again, it's what we allow. And it's going to take some attention. Like, okay, so is that the county clerk? Lisa, you need to follow up with these people. Where's our report? Where's our report? And are there implications for that? So again, we're just appropriating money based on, but there's no accountability. There's no accountability. And so that's all we're saying. So look, we're talking about refreshing this. Let's now get a new standard that we're all going to agree to, all conform to, and move forward. But we've got plenty of models out there. This ain't difficult. We already got in place. And that's what I'm saying, man. I say it's just a function of, I think, time with you. Like, okay, you're doing an awful lot of stuff. Y'all are doing an awful lot of stuff. But this is important that it's going to require somebody to maintain it. It's going to require it. Go ahead, Debbie.
No, I was saying that's true. I mean, last year when we did it, we only had 3, and it was a process. So when we increase the number now, it will be, if the 30 apply plus the 8 that are already listed in the budget, we'd be pretty much having to keep up with about 40, applications and people submitting paperwork and things of that nature. So it will add some things to our list. I would recommend that if we do the allocation to just try to do it once, because having to do it again, come back and do half may be a little difficult for us with not having a dedicated staff person. So that would be my only request, is to keep it at the one allocation.
I got you. One time, 5,000, make that for the record. One time, 5,000. And again, this wasn't supposed to be ongoing. Madam Guy brought up a good point. And I don't think we got beyond that. We just wanted to see if we could expand, because you got to prove yourself. And that's to your point right now. You're right. It's going to take extra, another body to look at this. But right now, you got people on the books that ain't got to provide nothing, and they get funding on top. That's the injustice that I have regarding other providers in there. They get automatically baked in, automatically funded, and nobody keep up with them. They just expect entitled to get their money. And everybody else like, well, how do I get in there on that? I'll do whatever is necessary. It's like we don't have time for it. Right? So well, they already in, so we're just gonna keep giving them, but it's like, no, we We can do better than that. And that's my only point. So look at how we're treated, as people treat them. And they're no more eligible that's on the books today because they haven't even done what we asked them to do currently. So then they shouldn't get their money. And so now you gotta enforce it. Like, no, don't cut that check. Madam CFO. So who's going to monitor? Back to Jill. I got it, Jill. Stay on my grant. Stay there. I get it. But we're applying this to other areas because the consistency. If you don't deliver, you don't make these thresholds, there's gotta be consequences. It's the discipline of the whole thing. All right, I won't belabor this. Again, back to the budget. We're gonna go to the budget as is. Madam ACA, you got your marching orders. We're gonna have a line on tomorrow's agenda, which deals with pre-qualifying the list, but the budget stays the same. I'm not touching this budget. Madam Chair, do you want to make some modifications to the budget based on what came out of the work session, or you want to leave it as is? Did we lose her, y'all? Hello?
I don't think she's moving screen yet.
It's okay. All right. So,
I'm the vice chair. I was trying to get I'm gonna call in because I have to head to WSA for my work session.
well, let's get this resolution knocked out, guys, because the budget is most
Oh,
important.
Vice chair.
Madam CFO, give us a resolution to adopt the budget as presented to send to the full board of commissioners.
Okay, yes, I got everything.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye. Okay, because I was trying to drive. I was gonna try to drive, but come on, do it.
No, come on, guys. Let's knock this out, Madam Chair.
Okay, so the resolution, hold on, I have it here, I've submitted it to Lisa, it's on the agenda. The resolution says, be it resolved that the 2023 Douglas County budget be as follows. Total general fund, $124,912,814. A special revenue funds, animal control services, hold on, so that is dark and I can't see it. Animal control services, $1,850,235. District Attorney's Office, $362,180. Drug Abuse and Treatment Education, which is also called DATE funds, $285,100. Emergency Telephone System, or E911, $3,384,246. Fire Protection and EMS Services, or Emergency Management Services, is $22,823,791. Hotel motel taxes, $930,000. Law library, $624,866. Neighborhood stabilization program, also known as NSP, $250,000. Sheriff asset forfeiture funds, $2,637,627. Sheriff inmate commissary funds, $616,393. Sheriff other program grants, $42,319. Sidewalk funds, $25,053. State court technology fund, $57,378. Unincorporated special services district, $13,988,466. Victim assistance funds, $243,943. Total 2023 proposed special revenue funds, $48,121,597. We have capital projects funds for 2016 SPOS capital projects, $17,015,844. We have enterprise funds, which includes Connect Douglas, $5,725,389. In the solid waste disposal fund of $3,550,731. Total FY 2023 proposed enterprise funds, $9,276,120. And Fund 9 internal service funds, which consists of medical self-insurance in the amount of $17,003,229. Workers' compensation, $756,000. Total fiscal year 2023 proposed internal service fund budget, $17,759,229. Our total fiscal year 2023 proposed budget, all funds, is $217,085,604.
All right, thank you so much for that. So, Finance Committee of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, you've heard the resolution being read by Madam CFO for the 2023 all funds in budget. Can I get a motion to make a recommendation as is to the full Board of Commissioners?
So move.
Second.
Get a motion second, any discussion? No discussion, guys, we're gonna go around the room for the record. I, Kelly Robinson, vote yes to pass it on.
Ramona Jackson Jones votes yes.
Frederick Perry, yes.
Tiffany Stewart Stanley, yes.
CFO Ramona Bibbers, yes, even though I'm biased.
Rosa Miller, ditto, yeah.
All right, we got a unanimous passage of the current fiscal 2023 budget. This is a recommendation to the full Board of Commissioners, so you got what you need. Y'all get that over to Lisa as soon as you can. Madam Chair, you can yield the floor if you need to depart from your chairmanship, and we'll catch you there. I'll call you in today.
All right. Have a good day. I'm headed to my WSA work session, another work session.
Okay.
All right. Y'all have a
Thank you,
good
Madam
day. Bye-bye.
All right, Madam CFO, anything else on that matter? I think you have another comment you want to make?
No, sir, not on the budget. The final item that you were just asking if we had anything else. We do have one more thing that you and I discussed. We've discussed it in the past, but we just wanted to bring it up as a reminder. And that's the financial reporting, public transparency, where we will begin. I think you would like for us to report out the financial report that we provide for the Finance Committee, to also provide it to the full board during their legislative session.
That is correct. When we get to adopting the meeting minutes, we also adopt our monthly report, financial report. That's correct. And in that, when we talk about transparency, we're taking the current report and we're reviewing it in the Finance Committee, we're making it available. How do you envision that being made available? Just a PDF on our main site, what's happening, or where do we store our meeting minutes? Like when people want to go take a look at this, where would they be able to see it, and how is it broken down? By the 7 functions of government, or one layer below that to show all 64 functions?
It is broken down by department, actually. The revenues is broken down by the source of the revenue. And then when we get to the, when we get to the expenditure side, it shows the, I believe it's by like general government, and then it has all of the departments that fall under general government. And the same thing with judicial and all the departments that fall under that. So you can see every department what their budget is.
Public safety, public works.
Yes, sir. Yes, but under that we have those categories, but under each one of those categories, we actually have the department's information. So for instance, I'm gonna take a short one, so it won't be long, this process. I'm gonna take public safety, for instance. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 items under there. But we'll show public safety, and we have the coroner's budget, their budget and their actual expenditures, and where they are, as for the percent that they spent of what they have remaining in their budget, the sheriff's office, the jail, and emergency management. So each department will be included on that.
Very good.
But that's what we wanted, so we can see all the departments as well. And so we can do a couple of things. It should be included in the minutes if it's presented at the board meeting, or included in your minutes, adopted as part of that. And also what I would like to do, and put it on the finance department's website, because we already have our budget there, and our annual comprehensive financial report is out there as well. We can have IT add a link for monthly financial reports and have a depository there as well. So they can get it 1 or 2 places.
Got it. So we won't do it on the first meeting. We'll do it like this, the second meeting, like right when we do the SPLOS update, the financial report. Does that work? Allows you to close out the prior month?
Yes, sir, it does.
So
Yes.
it'll be the second meeting.
Yes.
Got it. All right, so the first time we'll see this will be the second meeting in January.
Yes.
That's all we're looking at.
Okay.
I'm sure we proceed, but you handle this. This is administrative. I got it. No, you got this. Again, I mean, anything that obviously enhances, obviously transparency for citizens is always welcome. And so you can, be our blessing to make us more transparent. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. And that's all we have on the agenda.
All right, Deputy Sir, anything? I'm not trying to belabor this, but
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Yep, because I know you got to prepare for tomorrow. Madam ACA, are you okay?
Yes, sir, I am. Thank you.
All right, let's just get through the moment. So, Madam CFO, thank you, Rosalind, David, and Jill. Thank you, guys. All right, guys, I'm just going to keep it moving. I know it's been long. Thank you so much. If there's nothing else needs to come before this Financial Audit Committee of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners on December 12th, 2022, let this meeting or committee